this in great dramatic form. Welcome, wherever you are. Good evening, good morning. Welcome to the 196th episode of Audionautic Deep Space Network, ADSN. I hope you're well. Yeah, it's a cool week. It's a chill week. Now, after last week's internet mishaps, I'm keeping it chill. No running around, no differences, no demos or anything like that. I'm just going to test the water. You can see that Eon Lake has got a brand new setup there as well. It didn't stop us being late because that was me this week. Turns out I had my headphone volume all the way down. So yeah, but here we are. 196 episodes, but still having technical difficulties, which we can frame either way. Either we are incompetent, or we continue to push the boundaries of what broadcast media can be in 2026.
Let's go with that.
2026 is the year of reframing, so that's what exactly we're going to frame it as on this occasion. Eon Lake, how are you doing, bro?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good.
Looking full HD. Doing well?
Yeah. I've become slightly higher resolution than I was last week.
I like this. I like high resolution Eon Lake. It's a good.
Strangely, I feel the same, but I don't know.
It's okay. Sometimes you just got to do the physical, and you've got to keep doing things and moving your body and making the changes, and eventually your brain will catch up.
Yeah,
that is how it is sometimes. How's your week?
It's been all right. I've not managed to get as much done as I wanted to, and I've made such a mess in here. It's a mess. There are cables and bits of kit lying around everywhere. You won't see it. I've kept the camera.
You've been strategic.
Any lower, and the true horror starts to reveal itself. There's stuff lying around everywhere, boxes and things. I'm just trying to make things a bit neater and tidier in here, but it's not really working yet.
Well, you've got to break some eggs to make an omelette, right?
Yeah. Well, I've broken the eggs.
What is it you're trying to tidy up? Is it the workflow? Is it the routing? What is it?
People say that, if you've got lots of clutter around you, it's hard to, it interferes with your processes. You don't necessarily think straight. I don't want anything to interrupt my flow, as it were. So I'm trying to tidy things up so that I've got a place where I can bring my laptop in and just plug it into my little mixer here if I'm messing around with something on the stand here, or I can get on the proper computer and use the full studio for something a little more permanent. So I want sort of two zones. So the play tray bit is kind of like a hotspot for, like, you can just plug your laptop in, everything's already connected to the little mixer, so it's just USB in and you can just start syncing and recording. But it's meant getting all boxes of cables out and all sorts of stuff, and I've just succeeded in making an absolute mess and not really finished anything yet.
Good on you. I mean, that sounds...
It's kind of like a feathering of the nest more than anything, if I'm honest, I
mean, that's a good place to be. It's a good tinker is always a good thing.
You would think.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in my case.
Well, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I am one to over tinker, and then sometimes when I'm not feeling particularly creative, I'll just make a mess and decide to reroute stuff because I want to feel creative and I want to feel like I'm doing something. And I've had to kind of move back to examine that and go, okay, maybe you're just deflecting, maybe you're just doing something more. But it sounds like you've got intention. It sounds like you know what you want to create and you're moving towards creating it.
Yeah, I mean, the smaller little playful bits of gear sit on top of a keyboard stand here next to me, getting in the way of my drum kit, and I want to just be able to just stick my laptop on top on the stand and record whatever's on there and take it away with me. But yeah, I got sidetracked, you could say.
That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't know if you can see it in mine. Do you see, if I duck out the way, I don't know if you'll see it. Do you see
a bit in the corner?
It's here. I invested in it's very flat and black on the thing, but basically it's a laptop stand. And I've got a 2 meter USB-C going into my mixer, so I can just unplug it and move it around and keep that modulation in that kind of same frame in that regard, so that everything's connected and then everything can just be plugged and clicked into a different computer.
Ah, right.
But that is also more hardware in the space.
So have you settled on a configuration yet, or is it still in flux?
Well, I've got Mike in the back of my head, as I often do, particularly when I'm in the shower. Mike, when I was first setting up this place, Mike was like, "You'll change it 2 or 3 times before you settle on it." And I was like, "Nah, this is so much effort. I'm not going to redo it." And then within a week, I started redoing things. I'm kind of happy where it's at right now. I don't know. I'll see where I'm going. Like, I rigged everything for the main computer, which is at the back over here.
Yeah.
But everything I've been doing since then has all been on this laptop here. And so I've needed to just change everything around to finish off, because I'm also in the process of, I'll write on the main computer and then I'll bounce out the stems and then I'll produce them on this laptop, sometimes just in the laptop with a pair of earpods, So I think I'm coming to accept that I will never stop tinkering, because it's part of the process for me. And I'll never have it's a modular rig, not in like a modular synthesizer rig, but it's kind of everything can be pulled in and out at all times. And I'm just kind of accepting that at this stage.
I think, would we be here if we weren't tinkerers in some way?
It's true, right? It's another form of exploration.
I mean, I say I'm writing music, but I'm tinkering most of the time.
And that's okay. Bendu's in the chat. Hello, Bendu. Nice to see you, man.
Hey,
I hope
Ben.
you're well. Lurking, maybe at work. I don't know. We'll have to see. We're a community of Ableton users today. So it's probably a good reason. We've alienated all the rest of our audience for 1 week. Normal broadcasting will resume next week, complete with technical deficiencies. But we are all talking about Ableton this week. The 12.4 public beta is now open, to everyone's amazement and everyone's joy, apparently, according to the Discord. We'll have to see.
Our Discord or theirs?
Well, maybe both. But yeah, have you? I mean, before we go into it, I mean, did it excite you in any form or anything?
I've kind of missed it, really. And if I'm 100% honest, I've not been through everything that they added in the last update yet.
Right. Okay.
And it does seem like, I mean, maybe it's me and having a busy life, but it does seem like quite a, what should we say, a busy release schedule they have,
Yes. Well, yes.
It could just be me.
No, well,
I'm not sure how long it's been now, but it doesn't seem like long.
It doesn't, and I don't think it has. I'm currently finishing and currently mastering an album to put out into the world, and I started it about a year ago, right? And that was on Ableton 12. And I've got project file histories of 12.3. And yeah, so I've got Ableton, and then I've got Ableton 11, Ableton 12, and then Ableton 12.3. And this is all within about a year. Now, granted, Ableton 12's been out for a while, and it took me a minute to kind of upgrade it proper. But this is only an album that I've been working on, like I say, for about 12 months. And I've already got three different project files for the different updates, which is a lot of updates.
I'm starting to see that a lot on mine as well. And I must admit, now you mention it, I was a late adopter, I think, of the last release. I think I sat on it for a while. I think it was a while before I upgraded to 12. Just because it's one of those things. I meant to do it, but I didn't really need to, and I had music ongoing, and Well, that doesn't really matter. You can run them side by side, can't you? You can always run the old one if you want to, but unless, I don't know, maybe you can't on Windows, but you can on a Mac.
Yeah, I think you can.
I've still got 10, 11, and 12 still on mine.
You got 10 still going on there.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Just don't want to lose that. Just don't want to
Just haven't
let go.
binned it.
Yeah, I get that.
I probably should tidy up a bit, but yeah, it's making sure that I've got that path to go back if I need to, which I, of course, never will.
But you never know. You just never know. Well, yeah, it's fair. I mean, yeah, I think we'll get into it. I think it reminded me a little bit of video games when you buy a game and then they're constantly updating it and constantly bringing out new stuff. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but I used to love the game Stellaris, for example, and then you miss an update or two, and then suddenly it's a completely different game, and you're like, well, I just won't bother, I suppose. Now, I'm not saying it's the same thing, but I did look at it. I saw the news. I think Survey Channel, maybe Survey or Mike put it into the chat, into the Discord yesterday. And I was in the process of finishing off like a couple of masters for a client. And I was just like, I was saving those projects again. And I was just like, oh, that means I've got to open them all again. That means I've got to save them all again. It means I'm going to have to do the whole thing all over again. So yeah, that's me. Well, that's me being angry at a cloud, isn't it, really? But
yeah, I mean, you could shake your fist at the cloud, or I don't know, you could just carry on with the version you're on. You don't have to immediately adopt the new one.
No, it's true. There are some really interesting updates, however. And
I wonder, though, before we get stuck into that, if we should say anything about the Discord news that's around this week. Have you seen that?
I mean, there's been quite a bit of news going on in the Discord.
Well, the fact that they're going to make everybody identify themselves as an adult by either uploading a picture of themselves or some legal document that shows how old you are, like a passport or something like that, after getting hacked last October.
Really?
Losing something like 70,000 user records. Something like that. It was all in the news, but now, yeah, they're talking about mandatory very soon, switching everybody's accounts to teenager unless they do that. And I don't know about you, but I'm not putting any sensitive information on any Discord servers. Certainly not my passport or my face or anything like that. Just be right. Okay. I'm a teenager again. Woohoo!
Is that? I mean, you are a teenager at heart, and that's okay. I missed that. I'm wondering. I'm thinking about the logistics of that because, all right, because I live in the Czech Republic, I have by default I have a residency card, which is both physical and in data form. Now, obviously, in the UK, and for good reasons, we have monumentally rejected ID cards over the years. But
apparently, they're still building the infrastructure for it now.
You're kidding me, really? Okay, well, I mean,
that's what I hear.
As we slip ever further towards fascism, that's probably how it's going to go. But I mean, I suppose what I'm saying is, in the long run is that. For those on the continent, perhaps this is complete conjecture because you've just brought this to the show. For those of us on the continent, I wonder if that would just be almost an automated thing to do with our residency, because our residency is tied to my passport information, for example, but it's not. It's set behind a different set of servers and a different set of passwords and stuff like that. I wonder.
I don't know. I'll say it again. I don't know that they've thought about this, really, or the implications of this. I mean, obviously, you can imagine there are a lot of hot takes floating around the internet around this, where there's saying like Discord have just trashed their own business, which is admittedly a worst case scenario. I think somewhat knee jerk, but at the same time, there's absolutely no way I'm doing any of the things they're going to want me to do. to prove that I'm an adult.
So
So
if you become or you get put on a teenager account, what does that mean for you?
I don't know.
You don't know.
There may be some restrictions around, what interactions you can have, whether or not you can use voice or video or something. I don't know.
We'll have to see.
You can imagine the sort of protections that you would put in place to, protect the youngest people that are allowed to use the service. I don't know what the terms of service are for Discord, but it's probably around 13 or something, isn't it? I guess. So I'd imagine there's some safeguards there. There certainly should be. Yeah, and I would start falling foul of that.
Well, maybe that means you won't be able to attend the Star stream on a monthly basis, which that would definitely be a travesty.
Well, I mean, there are other ways of doing it, I guess. Again, this is the thing, right? There are rivals to Discord that people are already discussing because of this. Said, oh, what could you use instead? And there are similar apps. I think, Discord gets used because it's convenient.
Yeah.
And they've just decided to torpedo that convenience. I don't know, it's a bit baffling, really. I can only imagine that it's a legal requirement and there's no getting away from it.
It has to be, yeah.
In which case, it's not going to make much difference, is it? The answer is don't use it.
Yeah, I mean, an alternative would be we build a node-based system across this part of the world where we all have T-Decks with 8-inch, 8 decibel antennas.
The things I started searching for after hearing that news.
So we'll have to see. As up until now, at the same time, our Discord is alive with the Sound of Music.
Still there.
It's still there. It's still going on. It's quite alive this week. I appreciate everyone in the community. I'll say it now. I appreciate everyone in the community who have been dipping in this week. I have not been as present as I am usually.
Nor have I, actually. We've got some new people. I am sorry, new people.
Yeah, we are.
I really am. Normally I'm friendly and welcoming.
Yeah. We are. It's just been one of those weeks. But if you want to be a part of the Discord community, scan that QR code or hit the link in the description. It is a cool, wonderful place where we can share ideas. Really interesting to see after last week's show, where despite the technical difficulties, people did take the strum plate VST and start working around with it. That was a lot of fun to see. So. It's cool. It's cool to see what people are up to. So if you want to be in a community with like-minded people, check us out. Yeah. And I've just seen that Sunderland are playing Liverpool today. I'll have to go back to that later.
We were not promising any live scores or anything.
No, definitely not.
Sued.
Absolutely. But yes, we'll have to see how that pans out. Maybe start thinking about an alternative if it was to go that way. I'm not surprised about these restrictions coming through. It goes in line with, especially in the UK, their movement towards state identification and putting personal information on their databases and stuff like that. Let's hope that if that happens, Discord have at least done more with their infrastructure and the security networks. Says the man who has no idea how that works.
Yeah, no, I nearly said a lot of stuff there, and I probably shouldn't.
Well, let's move across to Ableton's 12.4. There are quite a few nice updates coming through, and there are some really interesting additions, and there's some nice expansions, particularly in the lower part. So we'll start with the big one. The biggest update is this: you can now send audio, especially audio within different stems as well, through Ableton Link, which is quite a nice little addition.
Did I hear that right?
So you can now, using Ableton Link, you can monitor, record separate tracks from other devices.
What, like remote control?
Yeah.
Via Link?
Yes. So Live 12.4 adds audio link, letting you and your peers stream audio between audio-enabled devices, between link audio-enabled devices on a local network in real time. The audio from other players, other iterations of Ableton, appear directly as an input in Live, letting you monitor and record external devices and apps without additional hardware, cables, or manual latency compensation.
That last sentence is the magic one, really, isn't it? Without manual latency compensation, which is, if it's true, excellent.
Yes.
Yeah, because the first thought that popped into my head was that, why would you do that? What sort of latency problems are you going to get sending audio through the air to another device? But I mean, if you're writing things in isolation and then hooking up with a friend, they come over, bring a few bits of gear, you don't even bother connecting, you're just using Link to synchronize. You could actually record their gear as well without too much fuss. That's that sounds pretty cool, actually. I'm still wrapping my head around it.
Well, yes. Now, our resident expert Mike Smith was in the Discord. He couldn't be here today, but he said in his notes in the ADSN channel, he did say at the minute, in capitals, Ableton recommend hard wiring connections, but maybe this will evolve over time, which is a fair point, right? Obviously, wired connections are better in terms of latency and stuff like that, i.e. you don't have it. But, I mean, that's pretty cool. Transmitting through a network wirelessly audio from one device to another in real time with zero latency. That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
It's quite cool.
What would I do with that?
Absolutely.
If only I had friends.
Well, I mean,
you have to make some now.
Either that or you just have two devices. You've got a laptop and you've got an iMac. You just put them together. That's what I do. I don't have friends.
That's true. I mean, I could put some of these cables away that I got out and was moaning about earlier. Just put them all away.
I think it's cool. I mean, I think I've recently set up a looper setup on a different laptop. Right now, it's going into my old interface, which is a 4-track interface, which is then going stereo 2-track into the mixer. But in theory, that could just be a standalone looper, and then that could all get picked up by Ableton. I can absolutely bypass the second interface, and that would allow me to then have another device plugged into the mixer. Perfect. More stuff.
Yeah, I'm just thinking anything that connects into here. If I get it set up so that I can have my laptop on top, I just plug the mixer into my laptop. That gets the audio into both systems, whichever I want to use. So, yeah, they can sync and it gets the audio in no matter what.
It's perfect. That's what you need. Yes, I was a little bit inconsistent with my speech there, Bendu. Sorry. It's not zero latency. It's auto-compensated latency.
Yeah, it's not magic.
Sorry. Yes.
But yeah, exactly.
Yes. Smiling Arrows is also in the chat, who is the one who's late. Usually it's us. We were also about 9 minutes late today. So
we were, yeah. Because we're testing new, simpler, less likely to cause problems setups that cause problems.
Absolutely. But we do have, as a result of that, we do have Eon Lake 2.0.
Yeah.
She's looking very dapper, very snazzy. It's lovely. Hello, no user, your name is taken.
That's me.
It's nice to see you. No username is taken. Is that you? Is that genuinely
That's
you?
me, yeah. I'm signed in with the wrong account.
Fair play. No username is taken. What a cool. So we've got Eon Lake 2.0 and we've got some sort of secret doppelganger as well. That's what we need.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Is it me? I don't know.
I'll have to see.
It is.
Bendu says, I've been using a plugin called Audio Movers to record with a buddy remotely. I'm curious if this will entirely replace that.
So am I. But I would like to hear more about this audio movers. Might be difficult if
Well,
you're at work, but
it's the same network, right? So it has to be. I mean, if it's a buddy remotely, I suppose it depends where the buddy is. If it's
yeah, no, there were all sorts of things back in the day that people like Tim Exile were looking into, like online collaboration that solved latency issues and allowed you to jam with mates remotely who are very remote. And unfortunately, all of my mates I might jam with are, pretty remote. So I don't know if that sort of thing really became practical, workable, because I suppose usually when you hear about these things, they're possible, but maybe they're not as stable as you need them to be to really make full use of it. I'm interested to give it a go, though, I must say.
I think as well, just to add to that, because it's a very good point. It would depend as well how strong your wireless or your internet is.
Yeah.
We don't have particularly strong Wi-Fi here in the grand scheme of things, so that might create a little bit more. But then again, if they've got latency compensation, however good it is, maybe that will give us a little bit of leeway.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about latency compensation is that when you're trying to program things like drums, it can really mess you up. I mean, just being on Bluetooth headphones can mess it up to the point of making it not workable for me. But if you've got enough content, well, no, I don't know. It depends. I would just have to try it. If your audio that you're monitoring and listening to was sufficiently delayed in order to, solve any latency issues, it would be hard to record something. You might be able to sequence, do you know what I mean? Add notes in and so on. But actually playing stuff in while you're synced up, it does make me wonder how practical that will be.
Yes, I think it's something very much you have to test it and see. And we're at the stage of public beta, so it's not been released yet, and I think you'd have to wait a little while to kind of get through. I think it's at the same time, I think it's quite what's the phrase? I think it's got a lot of potential. Basically, I think Smiling Arrows has got it hit the nail on the head. It's like a musical version of a Google
I was just
Doc.
reading that, yeah.
I think that's fair. I suppose the way I envisaged it when I read it would be like, if you're, say I've got this setup, right? I've got this setup and I've got a thing and I've got a way that it works, and I'm at max, right? So I've got 12 inputs on my mixer, and then my mate comes round and has an Ableton setup of his own or their own.
You're like, no inputs for you, bro.
No, it'd be like, I'm not sacrificing my inputs for you. No, I'm not giving you a stereo 2 track you can jog on. What it makes me think is that you could just, or even without kind of even creating a link between you, you could just, with a click of a button, link your two Abletons together, and then you could be creating a kind of ensemble piece together. It's kind of communal in that sense, and it's the way that people can kind of jam together in real time using computers in that regard. Which I think that's kind of nice. It kind of speaks to again, it's a very live thing. Yes, Ableton's a DAW. What I genuinely feel that separates it from the rest of the DAWs is it's also a live instrument device, and it's very much
the
geared
performance aspect, and this kind of plays into that.
Yeah.
And ironically for me, it comes at a time when I'm starting to realize that maybe I've held up my personal development by not working with other people more. That collaborating more might actually be more useful to me and my personal growth as a pseudo musician, as opposed to an internet talking head.
you are a musician. You've released albums. You're consistently working in the studio. You put stuff out there.
I managed to make music happen. Yeah.
That's the very definition of a musician, Ian.
I don't know. I'm more a composer because I can write things I can't play.
Oh, I mean,
That's
sure.
my definition of a composer.
If you want to split hairs that way, but I mean, you've done more. You've done more in the last year. You've done more live gigs than I have. Remember?
That would be easy to beat.
It was a good gig. Good gig. Yeah, I think it's a cool thing. I think it's musical. I think it's the idea. I'm thinking about the kids that I work with at school, where they're all working on beats that they've made in Ableton, and they're making their own first like kind of compositions, and stringing those things together. Suddenly, it's a collaborative space. I think there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, and if they come up with something nice, you can just nab it off them.
Well, this is
I like that.
Yeah, the
I'm nicking it.
Yeah, I love that. The copyright cases this will bring in the future is an interesting one, yes, because then how do you define who wrote what? I mean, unless you're going to take the Coldplay approach or the Queen approach in that regard.
Yeah.
Be fine.
Well, I mean, if you're going to release it, I'd like to think you actually at least discussed that and agreed it, rather than just going, I'm putting this out and I'm not crediting you. What are you going to do about it?
Absolutely. I think there's
You'll be working on your own again pretty quickly if you did that.
That's fair. I think there's a lot of potential. I'd love to see how it works in practice. I think, I'm starting to see, like on my end, just jamming more with myself. I mean, you don't need friends, as Tim Minchin said. You don't need who needs friends when you got a loop pedal.
Is that what he said?
What did he say? Something like that. There's a song, one of his stand-ups where he makes this entire track from his a cappella, and he does everything, beatboxing, and he does the bass and stuff like that. And he's like, who needs friends? It's a good place to be. So yes, that's that. I would like to see that coming. Now, I'm hopefully...
Yeah, that's only the first.
That is only the first. We have more. There's quite a few updated devices. So that's the next stage. So there's three updates to three... there's updates to three different devices. So I'll go through them all, and then we can kind of talk about it in that regard. So they involve Erosion, Chorus Ensemble, and Delay. So the Erosion is a signal degradation effect who has come to move and to note for the first time. In live and push, it has real-time spectrum visualization and the ability to smoothly blend between sine and noise modulation, as well as mono and stereo noise. This comes in a new device completely, and previous iterations of Erosion will now be called Erosion Legacy, which is accessible in live sets. Now, I've never used Erosion. Have you?
No. Okay. Why haven't I used it? That sounds like the sort of thing I would use. Thinking, how can this be abused? How can I actually use it as an instrument? It's just generating degradation and noise. I mean, that sounds like an album title in itself.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm already thinking, how might that be used?
See, it's quite nice. I mean, I didn't know that there was a device called Erosion, which tells you that you can be using this software for years and there's still more to unplug it. It's beautiful. But yes, I mean, that's really cool. I'll have to see how that one works. That's Erosion. Chorus Ensemble now offers more control over delay time and structure, which basically allows you to finesse the smoothity of your chorus sounds, particularly when it comes to analog acoustic instruments such as guitar and bass, which is always nice.
Did they really say smoothity?
I know, that's my word. Smoothity.
So that is one that I have used, but I don't know. I think it's a little tricky to dial in something that I like, I think, on that.
Okay.
It feels like a real... it feels a bit clean, not like some nice, warm 70s based chorusing effect. It feels like something that's quite new and digital, and you can get good effects if you put something warm into it and you get the right settings. But I don't know. I have felt that I needed to, tweak it, play with it a bit to find something that I liked. Whereas there are other devices or plugins that do modulation that I think you find something nicer quicker on.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, at least that was my experience up till now. I mean, maybe they've improved it.
Maybe.
I do really like leaning on stock plugins where possible, and that's not just an Ableton specific thing. I tend to think that it might be more resource friendly, and also it's just less complication, perhaps.
And you can take it between different devices and different projects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you there. Let's pause there for a sec because there's a bit of chat I want to kind of engage with. Firstly, Lars is in the chat. What is this daring new look from Eon? Yeah. It is wonderful. It is wonderful. It's a new Eon Lake 2.0, as we said earlier.
It's the new streaming rig.
Absolutely, it's beautiful. So yeah, that's really cool. Also, I just want to engage with this here from Sleeping State, but with a dial from basically it's a noise thing like sampling or low quality, I presume, but with a dial for modulation. Let me just show you what they are.
Which immediately says to me, which makes it more pleasing to the ear and, gives it potential.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we've got here. So this is what the new device looks like, and it looks like you've got this ability to blend the different noises between sine and triangle, and these modulations amounts that are coming in here, which is it's quite nice in that regard. Yeah.
Lucky we weren't going to stick LFOs on it anyway.
Well, obviously we're going to stick a load of LFOs on them, and we're going to LFO those LFOs. It's going to be...
Well, yeah, because you don't want it just moving like regularly. You want its rate of movement to vary.
Absolutely, there's a lot of fun.
Vary the variance, always.
We've got again Bendu, also a fan of Eon Lake 2.0. This is cool. You are the popular man. You are the Calvin Klein of today. Eon, this is what I like as well. Eon's looking like he's blended with Ben Jordan by 20%. Beautiful.
I don't know what that means. Maybe it means I need to shave.
It also means you maybe need to look into node-based devices which create peer-to-peer networks of communication which are decentralized from
yeah, I've been doing that, yeah.
So that's what we need to do. So that's Erosion, which is quite nice. And then coming down to the chorus ensemble, we can see here, this is what this is looking like here. So you've got more dialing and you've got more ability to modulate on your own terms, but also look at all those things that you could modulate with an LFO. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Was the warmth dial already there?
I don't
have
think
Ableton
warmth
running, or I'd check it right now.
Do I have Ableton up?
I don't know if it was.
I don't think it was. I'll load up Ableton 12 while we speak.
It's in the wrong position anyway.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me bring up.
It should be cranked.
Let me have a look. Hang on. Chorus ensemble. It is there. It's definitely there. It's there and it's in the same place. So it is there. Hang on. What is actually different? I'm looking at it now. Hang on.
Pro tip: you can turn that all the way up and then resave it as a default, and you never have to do it again.
Perfect. I like that. That's what we need. So that's there. I think one of the more interesting ones, again, speaking about LFOs here, actually, let me just bring this up so we can see, is what is on the delay, because delay gets new LFO time modes and waveforms, introducing new modulation possibilities. So yes, there's this LFO box that you can see down here. You can change the rate, obviously, but then obviously you've got the different types of waves that you can play around with, which, it's always good to modulate your time modulations.
Yeah.
It's quite lush. Did it tickle your fancy? I mean, is the silence that good silence?
I'll take it. Yeah, well, it's just made me think. That's all. You can tell when I think I shut up. It's a real tell.
I mean, yeah, it's nice to have these new possibilities come through. I mean, there's one of one of the big things about LFOing and everything is it's great, and then you have another box, so you have your thing that you want to modulate with your LFO, and then you put your LFO in, and it's two boxes. But again, similar when they updated the filter in the last update, everything kind of, it feels like they're streamlining a few of these ready to be used boxes. The auto filter, they've put in the side chain already and kind of bringing those things through. It feels like they're trying to streamline the effects, which is a fair thing because the effects chains can get quite cumbersome and they're not. One of the less attractive things about Ableton is its effects chain. If you go into like FL Studio, you go into Logic, where it's all kind of like down, nicely put in. You could argue that that's kind of more condensing and that's more pleasing, as opposed to everything that runs a lot across the bottom. You have to end up, especially if you're a touchpad, which a lot of people are doing. You can be scrolling there for a while.
I've never given it any thought. Now that I think about it, when I first started with Ableton, I switched over from Logic. I did notice that the plugins are running left to right across the bottom, but I didn't at any point think, wait a minute, this is anti-Semitic or something. Why doesn't it go right to left or anything like that? It was just, okay, that's a bit different. But I think I got used to it pretty quickly.
It's cool. I suppose if it's not a big deal, it's not a big deal. But I suppose
left to right makes as much logical sense to me as top to bottom. I think right to left for me is less natural, and bottom to top definitely would seem a bit odd.
Well, yeah, bottom to top would be odd. But I suppose what I'm getting at more than anything is that, for example, in FL or in Logic, your effects chains are, unless I'm mistaken, which I don't think I am, but are automatically condensed, right? And you open them up to go into them, you play around with them, and then you click away and they're automatically condensed. Whereas in Ableton, they're not. They are automatic by default out, so you can get to them at any time.
Right. So there's no sort of condensed small view of your plugin chain.
Well, you can, but it's binary, right? So it's either a little rectangle that you can't interact with apart from turning it on and on, or it's the full shebang. And if you have an effects chain which is quite large, especially in Ableton racks and these pre-made packs where people are macroing everything to everything else and just making it really nice and easy, that chain does get exceedingly long. And so streamlining and bringing something in, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
Couple of things here in the chat. I've brought Ableton open, and so we can play around. Question from Sleeping State: does Ableton automation appear on the main sequence page like FL Studios does, or is it attached?
Can do.
Yeah, or is it attached to the mixer? So let me just put this out here.
Depends if you've got it shown or not.
Well, yeah. So this is the Ableton UI here, and I just by pressing A or pushing this button, I can play around with the automation in different places. Now, if you've got some sort of sample in here, for example, we bring this in, all right? Not sure what that is, but you can see now that I can change the panning and everything is kind of like overlaid across. I'm assuming people can see this, maybe not, but...
Yeah, the red line can represent pretty much any parameter, and you can turn it on so that you can see it, but you can also hide it again, can't you?
Yeah, again, pressing it, it's done. It just kind of overlays, which I do. I like the fact that it overlays in that regard. But to just kind of illustrate my point as well, so say we put a couple of these boxes in, right? Look at all these choruses. By default, they're open, right? And you have to kind of collapse them down to kind of
of course, yeah, there is that view, isn't there?
Yeah, but then you can't interact with anything. But in FL, what I like about FL is that it is just down in a list here, and the effects chain goes down, and you can kind of see it through. So
Can you group them in FL?
ooh, that's a good question. I don't think you can.
That's one thing I like about the Ableton implementation is you can group them all together and you can switch them all off in one go.
Yeah, you can. I did a very bad job of illustrating that just there, but you can bang that in there, and then boom, everything's off. Great, and then you can collapse that.
I mean, it's only with audio or instrument devices, but you can group your instrument and all its effects chain together. That can give you the ability to assign macros and map those to controllers and stuff like that. I like all of that stuff, but I also like once I can bounce a bit of audio out of it, or I can flatten it and then duplicate and keep the original track and just turn everything off with one button, so it's not killing my CPU. But if I want to go back and rewrite a part and record it properly later, I can.
I get that. Which is a nice kind of thing in which you can do.
But yeah, grouping effects and being able to save them as a group as well, I kind of like that. I don't know that it's not possible, and I'd imagine it's got to be possible in other doors.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Maybe I don't. Maybe Smiling Arid, you can let us know. I know that you're an FL user. While you were talking, I just wanted to bring this up about these kind of effects rats kind of situation. You see here, I've dragged one thing in, and what these are is they are tons of different effects all kind of racked together, which in the grand scheme of things is quite overwhelming. If you're new to Ableton, or if you're not particularly well versed in what's going on, you can get overwhelmed quite quickly. Which that's one thing I will say about Ableton is it takes a minute to get into it, right? And that is
and to understand how much you don't know, how complex it can get. But at the same time, I think that the fundamentals are kind of easy to pick up, like they are with most DAWs. And then, there's a lot of depth to it, but you can wade out gently. You don't have to go drowning yourself immediately.
It's true. Be Jamming since birth is here. Hello, Be Jamming.
Hey.
It's nice to see you. He says, I feel FL is the best with MIDI editing, but Ableton is better for audio.
So I've heard, it was a while ago now, but I'd heard somebody who was a pro of some quite respected standing saying that Ableton's rubbish for MIDI, but it's good for other stuff. And I hadn't considered it until then, but it is said. I don't really have a problem with it, but I find, like, who was it who said it? It just works for me, And I think that's the important thing. I think it was P. Jamin again who said that earlier. And that's the point, I think, for any DAW. Does it work for you? Does it feel natural? If it does, you're off to the races already, aren't you? And that's what you need. Something that's relatively transparent.
Yeah.
It doesn't sort of demand you study it and, get to know it, take it out for dinner, meet its mother.
Well,
you can just make some music.
I think that ties in quite nicely to one of the other big updates that they have kind of brought through, is the fact that they have a new system built into Ableton that they're calling Learn View, which is pretty cool. So it's
stabilizers.
In a sense, yeah. So obviously they've always had the help function, and in the bottom left hand corner you highlight something, it will tell you about what's going on and what it does, etc. And they do have a bunch of lessons built into Ableton, which I'm assuming is part of the reason why it's such a big file size when you download it. But they do have these lessons, and they do have these little kind of help ideas in the corner. However, they've now inbuilt this Learn View, which has structured tutorials that guide you through the basic workflows and core concepts of live. It combines this with short embedded videos, written explanations, and videos that can be watched in a floating window, and progress tracked by checking off lessons as they're completed. So this learning curve is being addressed in that function.
Right. I mean, not that it was a huge problem. I'm going to make fun of it now because, well, it's me. But at the same time, I don't doubt that I'll probably learn something from it and keep it to myself. Did you learn anything from putting stabilizers on Ableton? No. No. I'm an expert.
I think, yes, I hear what you're saying. And I get it. It's like, we've been using Ableton for a while, and it can be this idea of, I know what I'm doing. I know what to use it for. It suits me. If it feels good, do it, etc. Valid. Again, being a humanoid that teaches this to kids who are picking it up for the first time, one of the biggest blocks I've had in dealing with new faces to Ableton is it's not the easiest of UIs to understand, and it can be very overwhelming. And so especially when you're using MIDI, which, as we've discussed, I think the comment from there is valid. The idea that FL is better for MIDI and dragging in clips and stuff like that generally.
I mean, I wouldn't know, but I believe people who've saying it and have tried both because they've done what I haven't.
Yeah, that's what I see. And I see that some of the kids that I have, once their course is completed, they'll actually go back to FL because they're all in the box and that's what they care about. But I sit here as someone who thinks that Ableton is the best thing since, ever. And hoping that a more ingrained tutorial will definitely allow that bridge and allow people to kind of fully unlock the potential of what Ableton has to offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll be watching them anyway. I mean, I make stupid comments, but it was embarrassingly long before I learned how to properly tune drums.
Okay.
Years in. Some things are so sort of fundamental that people don't necessarily bother teaching you them, and you might find out something truly shocking.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with going back to school.
Yeah, I mean, we say it every day's a school day, and it is if you're prepared to let it be. And I've got no problem with being better at using these tools and getting to results quicker. That works for me.
Well, there we go. Couple of comments coming through. Be jamming since birth. That link audio is special, and I feel all DAWs need to add this. Completely, 100% agree.
It probably will.
It probably will. Yeah, it's ahead of the game. Ableton was late to the game when it came to things like stem separation, which we'll get to in a sec. But it's definitely ahead of the curve when it comes to audio manipulation. The time warp in Ableton is the best thing. I would agree with that as well. Be jamming since birth. It's a lovely.
It's kind of it takes the, I don't know, the maths out of it, or it's not a conscious thing anymore. It's just you just warp it, and everything's good with life, and you move on and don't have to worry about it too much. I like that. And the thing with new features is I'm not desperate for bleeding edge features. I would rather that people wait to introduce them and make sure that when they do introduce them that they work and they're not buggy. I'd rather they take a little bit longer. Maybe you're not going to be the first to introduce this feature, but I don't know, if you don't think that all doors are going to end up doing the same thing, then why not? I'd love to know, because I do. So one will be first with this, another one will be first with something else. Their development cycles are different. I don't really care. Just pick the one you want to use. They probably all end up broadly the same anyway.
Yeah, in that regard. But it's interesting to see where developers are putting their energy in the grand scheme of things. and
Yeah.
what they fundamentally care about most.
I mean, stem splitting was a big deal when it started coming out, and it did feel like there was a bit of an arms race going on to see who had the best stem splitting and so on. But now I think that it's broadly available everywhere. It's just a convenience tool. It's there, but it's not. I don't think it's a game changer particularly. It's great if you've got like a really rough mix that you've got in stereo that you want to rebalance a little bit and stuff like that. I mean, it's useful as a tool, but I think it's fallen back into now everyone has it. It's kind of, it's just stem splitting, isn't it?
And I mean, I think that's valid. I think there's always kind of like multiple of these things, right? But then stem separation came out, and then there's been also the backlash of the increased use of AI in music and things like that. And stem separation is an AI tool. You know, it's allowed certain beat makers to do more bootlegs and do more remixes and stuff like that, which is really cool. But it's also, once it's done, right? Once you've got it, you can really hone it.
Yeah.
I just want to go through a few chats, and we'll get to the stem separation. Where are we? Sleeping state. My problem with Ableton is when it came out, it was designed for loop manipulation. Its workflow grew out of that. I wanted no part of it. Totally valid. Valid.
I mean, you could look at it the other way as well. And I was only thinking about this earlier today. So when I first came across Ableton, it was like it's pitched as, you just got clips. You can just make clips and you can launch clips and you don't have to bother arranging. And you can kind of create scenes as you go and you can work on it that way. And then you can jam it into a structure. And that's how you get your arrangement. It's like, you could do that. Or you could do the exact opposite of that, where you write it just like anyone else does. But when you want to perform it live, you bounce it out to scenes and clips and so on so that you can mess around with them and change it and do something different. And so, I mean, it does seem to come, from looping audio or MIDI, and be based largely on that. But at the same time, it does have that sort of like sound sources versus time in the arrangement window that every DAW has. And you could start with that and do it the other way around equally.
Yes. And I think it plays into that, or plays, I should say, into that very well, because it gives you all the options. And on the back end of that there's so many options and so many ways to skin a cat in Ableton that overwhelming beginning that we spoke about before does actually, if you stick with it, transcribe into having a kind of a palette of your own, which you create your own workflow. It's all there, and it's just about understanding where the things are when you need them to be, like any DAW, to be fair. I mean, Sleeping State is talking about FL working well for them, and that's, it's fair. As B Jamming Since Birth says, all DAWs have something special, but it's more about what you need and want. Ableton is the first DAW that inspires me to explore and try new things. Now that's awesome and that's great. For you, it could be FL, it could be Reason, it could be Logic, it could be Cubase, it could be Reaper, it could be Mixcraft, it could be whatever you want it to be. But I think that the openness of Ableton's workforce allows you to just kind of create your own workflow as opposed to having one that's guided. I've always felt that FL kind of has a guided way of thinking about it, and it kind of, maybe it's just me, but it kind of pigeonholes.
Which could be a good or bad thing depending on how you feel about it. I was just literally just thinking that it depends what you want the DAW to do. If you're using all its functionality, so you're using it as a heavy sequencer, you're using it as a MIDI, a composition and editing tool, you're using it as an audio tool, you're using all the virtual instruments and effects and whatnot, then that's going to color whether or not it's going to be ideal for you. Whereas if I know a lot of people that like to use Reaper because they're only really recording audio, they're kind of creating music almost DAWless, and the the DAW is it's a tape deck, it's a multi-track. And all right, they do mixing it as well, so they use plugins, and sometimes they revoice things and use VSTs for that. But primarily, it's an audio multi-track more than anything else, and that's why they like that particular app. Also, because it's a hell of a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And, and maybe they're younger, and money is important. Where you put it matters.
Yeah.
But if you've gone all in with a DAW, then and you're using it for all your sound creation as well as recording and editing and mixing, then it's going to make you feel a certain way about particular products, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good point. I mean, here we are talking about the differences in DAWs, and Lars is in completely his own world. Now that Native Instruments is going bankrupt, I'll never get MIDI routing into my machine.
Does it not do that now?
Apparently not, according to Lars.
Wow.
We'll have to see. You never know. I'm still confident about Native Instruments will get bought out. They're what did I say? They're like the banks that are too big to fail.
You said it now, haven't you? I was going to say that. I'd like to think that's the case, though. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
I was only. I saw a video earlier today where somebody was making, just quickly making a what do you call it when you get a bunch of samples? You make a patch out of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sample pack, really. So the word sample pack filled me with horror, because I just think of the most boring admin of like organizing files, especially if you're doing multi-sampling where you've got multiple versions of each note and all the rest of it, and building an instrument and so on. But I saw a video and they were using Contact and literally just drag some files in, and there's the keyboard, and you just put them on the keys. And I did that years ago. I did have it, and I did do that, and it was so easy to just quickly build your own instrument with your own just like audio files. I just thought, that was really good, and I would kind of like to do that again.
You can't do that in Ableton, though, can't you?
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah. It was just so easy to do. It was just like
drag and drop.
Out comes the window, put that file there, that file there, that file there, that file there. If you wanted them louder, you'd stretch the top up and down. Do you know what I mean? It was just really mega convenient.
Right.
Ableton's pretty convenient, but I don't think it's quite as easy.
That's fair. I think that. Yeah, I think that's valid. You can get to where you want.
That's a nice design.
I get that. How about this then? Two things I love in Ableton is extract groove and extract MIDI.
Oh, hell yeah. I've been messing around with grooves a lot recently, and building a pool and then just applying them to stuff. Yeah.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
Definitely. And taking grooves from humans, bands, like songs that you think have got a really good feel, going, right, and I'll just nick the audio and I'll extract the groove from it. And then I'll start slapping that on, drum machines and stuff, just to, make the whole song have a different feel. And it's just so useful and easy to do as well.
It is beautiful in that regard. Let's move across to the last piece of the update. And I'll preface that by a few chats. Smiley area stem separation is the good AI. Let's think
exactly. We don't need people to sort of take all that challenge and joy of creation away. We don't need that.
We need the tools.
Yeah. Get the hum out of this guitar track, maybe, but
absolutely, that's all we need. And also, this is a preface. I think B. Jamison's Birth hits the nail on the head here. Stem separation is amazing when it works well. Some songs it's great, and some not so great. And I think that's valid, especially in the name of mixes which are, shall we say, not as clinical, right? Modern production is a lot more kept together. But
at the same time, you might think, well, it's bound to improve, right? Over time.
Yeah.
It's early. And that made me think, well, does that mean that like these first stem separation algorithms and so on are something that we're going to be adding as effects to our music in the future to make it sound a bit more old timey?
It's a good
Get
point.
that legacy stem separation sound.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Is it something we'll go misty eyed for later on? I don't know.
Maybe. Well, as we all know, stem separation came in 12.3. I remember us talking about it in the update, and we were all saying, "Oh, it's a little bit late to the show." You know, Logic, FL Studios have all had stem separation for a while, as well as MPC, Akai. Sorry. Apparently they've upgraded this process so that it's now more flexible and it's faster, which is great. If you can't wait 3 minutes for a stem separation, who even are you?
Someone who doesn't have a kettle, clearly.
Yeah, put on a stem separation, go make a cup of tea. Jobs are good. You know, you can multitask. But now you can separate a selected portion of a clip in arrangement view, and only process that part, rather than having to do an entire file every time, for example. Separated stems can now be merged into a single track rather than generating individual tracks each time, making it simpler to remove specific stems like vocals, for examples. Of course. I'm a meerkat now. And finally, stem separation is now easier to monitor with a unified progress bar that tracks the entire operation rather than per stem. So it sounds like there's not I don't know if there'll be any improvement in the quality. I think Logic probably still takes the king from 12. Logic, still probably takes the most, and he gets 6 stems. It doesn't sound like they're doing too much to the stem separation itself. It sounds more like a workflow thing, potentially, with the idea of evolving when inevitably Ableton 13 comes out.
Yeah.
Have you used the stem separation much?
Not really.
No? Not your cup of tea?
There'll come a time when it's useful, when I have something that I need to do, and it'll just be an easy way of doing it. If I wasn't so absolutely terrified of copyright strikes and stuff like that, I'd be using it a lot. But I don't know. Until I've got... I tried to just sample myself, or something that's in the public domain. But even then, I don't feel relaxed doing it, because I just don't want the aggravation of copyright strikes and all of that business of the horror stories I've read. I don't want to have stories like that to tell.
That's valid.
Got enough problems.
That's valid.
You know?
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense.
I don't want no beef.
I don't want no beef. I hear you. I found a lot of joy in making bootlegs. I found a lot of joy.
Yeah, I've wanted to do that. Yeah,
and I think there's, I come back to, you know, when you gave me that like mega file of Psytrance about a year ago. Do you remember that? Yeah. I mean, in there's quite a few bootlegs, and there's quite a few like unregistered recordings and live takes and things like that. Like, and I think back now to where things going. Like, you can, like, if you are distributing, right? If you're still in that game, which is Survey put that tidal distribution thing up in the Patreon. I think it was either the Patreon or the ADSN chat. About distributing and still finding different ways to distribute. And there are other streaming services out there. If you're playing that game, you can upload things and declare it and pay a little bit extra and call it a cover. And you're covered in that regard. It's not all doom and gloom. It's not all doom and gloom. It's not all doom and gloom. Like, yeah, a lot of fun to be made. But also it's a distraction, right? It's a time bandit. If you've got a project that you're working on, going and doing a little side quest here and there, it's not always the best thing to do.
Yeah, I think that's probably more to the point for me. there's usually something I should probably be getting on with.
Yeah, I get that. That's the same as all. So yeah, that kind of puts up the idea of what's going on. There's a few changes as well to the move and to note, as well as the push, but I think we might save that for maybe when it's released proper, seeing as we're already at 1 hour and 10 minutes in. What do you think, like, overall?
I like it. There's a tendency to go, well, I'm not blown out of the water or anything like that. But then my reaction to that is I don't want to be. I quite like Ableton. I don't want them to go messing it up just for the sake of changes for the sake of changes, for the sake of, perceived progress. I'd rather just left it alone,
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't want it to, become rubbish because there's some, escalating arms race. You get this in a lot of industries, you used to get it with, hi-fis, cars and things where it becomes almost like, and TVs, it becomes like a stats war. And one thing's only really better than the other thing on paper, and the differences are things that you'll never really detect or see. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in it, staying good and continuing to be a useful tool so that I don't have to learn another one and shell out again and all the rest of it. I'm happy. And this is good, like incremental, workflow improvements, not trying to reinvent the wheel. So other people might think, the opposite for the same reason,
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, that's still, that's your experience with things, and that's, it's valid.
I mean, it's a semi-professional tool anyway. Enough people use it professionally. So, stability and functionality have got to be the most important things, really, haven't they?
Yes.
You've got to be careful with throwing new features in there if it's going to make things crash or perform worse. Then, is it better? I'd argue not. So incremental updates are fine with me.
I get that. Incremental updates are fine. I should put that on a t-shirt. I agree with you. I'm torn. I like the idea of these updates. I think they're cool. I like the way they tinker. I like the way that they I'm assuming that they're taking community feedback and implementing them in a ready time. I think that's awesome. I love that. I think it's great. Maybe Mike can put his thoughts in later on concerning that. I do. Maybe this is just fear more than anything, or worry and anxiety, but I am concerned that it would mean a dilution of big updates, which we would still be charged quite a lot for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk, what was it, Fruity Loops versus Ableton? You don't have to pay for the updates as much on Fruity Loops, do you?
No.
I mean, Ableton, each major version you have to upgrade, and it's a pay to upgrade. It's that's significant.
Yeah, it's the 11 to 12 update is €200 if you've already got it, which is not an insignificant update. It's not especially if you've already put in €500 for the suite. It's not an insignificant amount. I mean, even Logic is, once you buy it, you get free updates forever. So yeah, exactly. And Sleeping State says FL Studio is just free updates for life. It is, absolutely.
There you go. Yeah.
You pay once and you're done. But on the flip of that, again, what Bendu said springs to mind. So Bendu says, at first I hated some of the recent changes to the browser section of Live, but I've grown used to it so quickly, a testament to how much thought Ableton puts in, compare and contrast with Microsoft, which, yes, you're paying premium for upgrades and updates, but they also know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I felt a similar way. My initial response was, what is all this crap and all the extra filter buttons and everything that they put in? It's, oh, God. But, yeah, it's not actually a big deal. And, yeah, you get used to it quite quick. And I often hide the whole pane when I'm not using it as well, just to get more mixer or arrangement window. So yeah,
I'll have to see. I think it's a cool update. It's fun. I will finish off the albums I'm doing before switching up to it. But for sure, it's cool. It's a nice thing. It's what we need. I wanted to, anything more on that? I wanted to finish with a little shout out before we close for today. Is there anything more you want to say on Ableton?
No, let's move on.
Wicked. Well, I just wanted to highlight a new upcoming album from Stilhed, release coming out, I believe, on Ambient Soundscapes, which is a wonderful ambient label. And yeah, there's this 4-track EP that's coming out on the 20th of February. It's a serene ambient EP exploring air, light, and movement through sound. Gentle drones and weightless harmonies drift like wind currents, creating a sense of openness and calm.
Sold.
Bought it, pre-ordered it immediately. Do you want to hear a bit of Noma before we go?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let me re-share and enable audio. But yeah, tell me if you can hear this. This is stunning.
Yep. That's lovely, that is.
It is lovely, isn't it? It's so good that Steve got up to have a look. What's going on?
Everyone seems to think that, ambient music, you can sling a massive reverb on top of something and you're done. The thing about Thomas's stuff is the tone. It's always so lovely. All the harshness in the upper mids and stuff that you can battle with when you're, using a lot of regen and feedback on effects and things like that. It's just not there. His stuff is so smooth and the spaces are large but not grainy or artificial, or it's just done right. It's craftsmanship. You can take his stuff to the bank. Anytime he's put something out, it sounds great. It sounds $1 million. It really does.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the tone he gets.
Stunning stuff, isn't it? It does. It really hits you. It hits you in your heart space. I think, craftsmanship is the right way to put it in that regard. It's just...
It feels so effortless as well. There's just,
and
nothing conflicted about it.
Yeah, and it just kind of rattles out effortlessly. Yeah. I agree with Smiling Arrows. I think, it's a shame that Stilhed stopped his streaming. He used to talk through what he was thinking while doodling. I believe the new job took over. I mean, I don't want to put words in his mouth or speak for him, but hopefully he'll come back to it soon, because it's such a peaceful dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested. I always want to see inside people's heads.
Absolutely.
And they're creating.
Absolutely. It's cool. The link is there in the chat, and I've also put it down in the description. Go support. It's a beautiful single there, and I can't imagine it'll be anything other than a stunning little EP. Get that?
It's never taken a risk with him, is it?
No, it's not a risk at all. Thank you for being here today. We really appreciate your time and energy. You could be anywhere in the world right now, and you chose to spend your time with us. So thank you. Really appreciate it. This show is brought to you by our patrons, who Thomas Stilhed is one of our patrons, and they genuinely keep the lights on, and they genuinely keep the conversation flowing. And sometimes, such as this week, they write the show as well, because they put stuff in before I get to there. So thank you. Really appreciate you. Love having you around. If you wanted to support and become a member of the Patreon, there is the QR code if you wanted to do that. It's still at £2, £2, I think. Yes, I haven't changed. It hasn't gone up. There's a lot of cool things to do. You get early access to releases, part of the Starstream community where we hang out off air once a month. I'll put sample packs there and from sounds that I find when I'm traveling the world. Lots of cool little stuff to be seen if that's your vibe. And if it's not, that's also okay, but it's there if you want it. Absolutely. Eon Lake, any final words before we go for this week?
No, just love to the patrons as always. And we do appreciate anyone listening.
Yeah.
It's enough.
It is enough.
It's a lot to ask for in this day and age. There's a lot going on. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I realise both of us at the same time have become quieter in our voice and speak closer to the microphone since listening to Thomas's work, as if we're on Classic FM. It's great.
Different mood already.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Ambient and noise. That's what the future is, I think. Ambient and noise. Anyway, we will be back next week, I believe. Yes, we'll be back next week. Same time, same place. With Eon Lake 2.0. Look at that wink. That was cool. I love this. This is great to see. We are all relaxed now, which is nice. So thanks to Stilhed for that. Don't even mind the copyright strike. It's just nice to promote the community. Thank you ever so much once again for being here, all of you, and keeping the chat alive. It's lovely to see what your thoughts are and what you're thinking about and where you're at. It's beautiful. That's why we do this live and not do this as a pre-recorded show. And that's awesome.